This week, Charity Dingle finds herself facing a desperate dilemma. She must somehow raise £100,000 for Dr Caitlin Todd, or risk the ruthless medic exposing the secret that baby Leyla was conceived during a one-night encounter with Ross Barton. Despite assuring Chas that she would never actually carry out her plan to rob the depot, Wednesday's episode showed her putting the scheme into action. As events unfolded, Charity was left anxious after Kerry Wyatt informed her that several employees were still working at the depot despite the scheduled day off. Trying to hide her alarm, she quickly invented a story about hosting a free menu tasting event at the pub. She encouraged Kerry and the rest of the workers to take the afternoon off without informing Caleb Milligan. However, things soon started to unravel when Caleb arrived at the Woolpack and discovered the entire workforce gathered there. Furious at first, he eventually agreed to stay after some persuasion. Taking advantage of the distraction, Charity left Marlon in charge and hurried away. Chas soon arrived at the pub and immediately realized what was happening. She rushed to the depot and caught Charity in the middle of the robbery. There was little opportunity for the sisters to argue when Noah and Billy Fletcher unexpectedly arrived and sensed that something was wrong. Billy quickly contacted Caleb and asked him to come over. After slipping away from the scene, Charity was later confronted by Chas at home. Chas revealed that Caleb had accused Noah of carrying out the robbery because his keys had gone missing, unaware that Charity had secretly taken them herself. Caleb then blasted Noah, believing he was responsible for a theft that would cost him a huge amount of money, especially since the insurance company was unlikely to pay out on what appeared to be an inside job. Claiming she had been backed into a corner, Charity insisted she couldn't allow Sarah, Jacob, or Mac to suffer from learning the truth. Chas disagreed, arguing that Charity was really protecting herself and warning that the deception couldn't continue forever. Believing her troubles would be over once Dr Todd disappeared from her life, Charity handed over £30,000 in cash as a first payment. She promised the remaining money would follow after the sale of the pub to Kim Tate was completed. But the manipulative doctor revealed she already knew that Kim had withdrawn from the deal and made it clear that her deadline remained unchanged. Just when it seemed Dr Todd couldn't become any more ruthless, spoilers for next week suggest she is about to go further than ever before. Kane Dingle takes an important step forward in his recovery journey following his recent prostate cancer diagnosis. After undergoing surgery last month, Kane has struggled to come to terms with the physical and emotional effects of the procedure. One of his first challenges was adapting to life with a catheter. When it was finally removed, he saw it as a sign that things were improving and headed to the pub to mark the occasion. However, after drinking heavily, Kane found himself stumbling home. Along the way, he urgently needed the toilet and relieved himself by the roadside. Unfortunately, he was spotted by PC Swirling and another officer, who arrested him for public urination and being drunk and disorderly. Although spending the night in a police cell was unpleasant, the greater humiliation for Kane was losing control of his bladder in front of the officers. A few days later, he attempted to return to work, but his confidence took another blow. Just as he was leaving home, he suddenly had to rush back upstairs to use the bathroom. Because he can no longer rely on the usual warning signs, Kane has begun isolating himself to avoid any further embarrassing incidents. His decision is now affecting not only Moira, but also Kyle. While Moira understands the reasons behind Kane's behavior, Kyle is struggling to make sense of it, and has started believing that his father simply doesn't want to spend time with him anymore. In today's episode, Moira encouraged Kane to take Kyle back to school, but he refused. Determined not to leave the house, Kane failed to consider how his rejection might affect his son. Later, Kane received some advice from Liam. The village doctor explained that he needs to find practical ways to manage his condition, especially as regaining full bladder control could take time. Kane was reluctant to listen and insisted that the suggested solutions didn't feel like something he would ever do. Liam sympathized, but reminded him that his circumstances have changed and that both he and his loved ones deserve a better way forward. Although Kane often finds Liam frustrating, he recognized the truth in his friend's words. When Moira arrived home later, she discovered Kane ordering leak-proof underwear online. It marked another significant moment in his recovery, showing that he was finally willing to put his family's needs ahead of his own pride. Meanwhile, Kyle continues to drift away from his father without Kane realizing it. The youngster has instead been spending time with Graham Foster. During today's episode, Graham revealed that he had enrolled Kyle in the cadets. Knowing about Kyle's involvement in the Emmerdale farm fire, Graham hopes the activity will give him direction and help him make better choices in the future. The question now is how Kane will react when he discovers what Kyle has been doing behind his back. Kyle Winchester faces increasing pressure in upcoming Emmerdale scenes, as Graham Foster becomes even more determined to help him change his life for the better. However, could his efforts eventually lead to Kyle admitting the truth about the devastating farm fire? Ever since learning that Kyle was responsible for the blaze at Emmerdale Farm, Graham has taken a special interest in the troubled teenager. Convinced that Kyle deserves another chance, he has made it his mission to guide him away from trouble and towards a more positive future. According to insiders, Graham recognizes a lot of himself in Kyle. Much like the support he once offered to Joe Tate during his difficult years, he now wants to provide similar guidance and stability to Kyle. The challenge, however, is that Kane has never fully trusted Graham, creating tension between the two men. Kyle's frustration over his father's emotional distance eventually pushed him into making a terrible mistake when he set fire to the farm. While Graham sympathizes with the teenager's struggles, he firmly believes that taking responsibility for his actions is an essential part of moving forward. As Kyle continues to struggle with his strained relationship with Kane, Graham encourages him to open up about his feelings and be honest about what has been troubling him. With Kane currently unable to provide the support Kyle needs, the youngster is touched when Graham steps in as a mentor. Wanting to show his faith in him, Graham gives Kyle one of his old army watches, a meaningful gesture that leaves a lasting impression. Determined to provide some structure and discipline, Graham also enrolls Kyle in the cadets, hoping the experience will help him develop confidence, responsibility, and a sense of purpose. The watch serves as a symbol of Graham's commitment to helping Kyle succeed, but whether that support will be enough to keep him from making further mistakes remains uncertain. Speaking recently about the storyline, Andrew Scarborough explained that Graham's intentions are entirely genuine. He said that despite their occasional disagreements, Graham has always respected Kane and does not see his involvement with Kyle as a way of competing with him. The actor stressed that Graham is not trying to manipulate anyone or play games. Instead, his actions come from a sincere desire to help a vulnerable teenager find a better path. According to Andrew, Graham genuinely cares about Kyle and hopes to become a positive influence in his life, offering guidance and encouragement when he needs it most. Emmerdale is broadcast on ITV1 every weekday evening at 8 p.m. and is also available to stream on ITVX.